Part of what we need is a mechanism for stitching together this critical patchwork quilt of initiatives into a comprehensive fabric to create not an array of standalone programs and goals, but something much more powerful, something much more focused. And that is what transforming education in Kentucky is all about. I'm going to be visiting 10 cities across the state for a series of press conferences and town hall forums to build awareness of this initiative and to listen. My goal is to answer the question that Ed Pritchard asked of the public before a similar set of forums almost 25 years ago. What do you want your schools to do? The answer will guide the task force as it takes up this important mission. Its membership includes almost 30 people, handpicked for their commitment to education and to Kentucky. I'm talking about advocates, teachers, superintendents, legislators, business leaders, and others. The goal is to formulate recommendations by the end of next year, 2010, for consideration during the 2011 legislative session. I know that a year seems like a long time, but it isn't, not given the complexities of the topics that we will be dealing with. While I don't want to predetermine the group's conclusions, there are some guiding principles and some general goals. 1, improve teacher recruitment and retention. 2, ramp up the academic component of our career and technical schools so that they become first choices, not schools of last resort. 3, smooth out the transition from preschool to K through 12. 4, figure out how to give every student the opportunity to earn college credits in high school. 5, make much better use of technology. 6, create a system of assessment that measures the things that employers value, such as the ability to analyze, to communicate, to think. Notice that I did not include in that list the discussion of long-term funding for education. The reasons I didn't include that are simple. First, I think we already all know that we need to invest more in education. And second, we all know that the current recession will not allow that additional investment immediately. This coming budget cycle, without a doubt, will be one of the most challenging that we've faced yet. Yes, there are indications that the national economy has begun to improve, as a recent meeting of the Consensus Forecasting Group told us. But that recovery will be a slow, long process. As I've said for some time, we'll be slower coming out of this recession than we were going into it. And as a result, we're not expected to see state revenues return to even the 2008 levels until 2012. Over the past few years, we've made up the gap in revenues by cutting spending and by relying on resources like budget reserve funds and federal stimulus funds. But our budget reserve has been used up, and the stimulus funds will soon run out. Now, Kentucky has weathered this financial storm, as Mike pointed out, better than most states because of prudent fiscal management that has included cutting some $800 million out of our budget. We're doing more with less, just like families across this state are doing. And we'll continue to make those tough decisions. The executive branch under Steve Beshear is the smallest that it's been in 20 years. Because education is my #1 priority, I have preserved the basic P through 12 funding formula amid deep cuts elsewhere in state government. And I've done my best to limit the impact of cuts on other areas of education. I'm proud of having stood up for our schools and for our teachers and for our kids during these difficult times. And I promise you that we will continue to work hard to try to do the same thing in the coming legislative session. I believe, as do most Kentuckians, that we will never move forward tomorrow if we take significant steps back in education today. Now, I want to be frank with you. Because of this recession, in the coming legislative session, there's not going to be a whole bundle of money to create an array of new programs or to make significant new investments. I want to be clear about that because we don't want to mislead anybody. But that doesn't mean that there aren't a number of things that we want to do, because there is. I want to put more money into early childhood development. I want to fully fund all-day kindergarten. I want to improve pay and training so that our teachers aren't tempted by offers in other states. I want every student to have the opportunity to take AP courses, and I want better textbooks for our kids. But for now, my biggest financial priority is simply to maintain our current investments in education during this worst recession since the Great Depression. However, that does not mean that we have to stand still. It does not mean that we hunker down and hide. Far from it. What it does mean is that we take this time to aggressively look at our education system and make sure that we have the curriculum, the teachers, the standards, the organizations, and the structure in place to prepare our children for the 21st century. It means that we take this time to continue to build partnerships between the education and business communities that enable both to have the support they need. It means that we rally again around our students and around our teachers. And if we do this, then when the sun does come out at the end of this recession, and it will, and we then have significant dollars to invest, we will know not only where to invest those dollars, but how to get the most out of them. We cannot waste another minute. 20 years ago, we made a start, a groundbreaking approach that drew the attention and praise of the nation. Today, that mission continues. We have a chance to seize that momentum once again. Today, I'm calling on our state and our people to recommit ourselves to ensuring the future of our children. We must engage everyone in communities, towns, and cities across Kentucky in making education once again the top priority. And if we're successful, this time we will draw not only the attention of the nation, but of the world, a world in which our children must compete. Thank you, and let's get started.